Hi everyone, I just want to start out and thank everyone, and we're going to start with this image to keep everyone in the loop that Olama is making a programming piece that we can all interact with, which is super cool. And but we'll be getting back to that on Tuesday because the changes that need to be made for it so that everyone can interact with it aren't going to be made until after Tuesday to give everyone a chance to put their work online this coming up week and meet the deadline. Someone's already done it. 2 people. I'm so excited. All right, let's get going. Sajan is was actually the very first person to put his work on the computer, and he did his using a mouse and using an online paint program. And I think if you look at it, he did a really excellent job, and the only possible problem would come from the difference in the proportion between the image that he started with and the one that the proportion that he used in the end. I think if next time he's a little bit more careful so that the size of his image is the same size as his copy. Everyone seemed to have a really personal take on everything, and I think you can certainly say that for Tom. First of all, he's the only person who really used a photograph, and one that's very abstract. And also, there's a unity to his palette, and I'm really looking forward to watching him develop his colors and really think carefully about color. And I'm really pleased with his work, and if you look closely, you will be too. Also, if you Louis was very prescient, and here we have an image from Duchamp, which is in the lectures from today. And if you notice the quality to his drawing, it's not an exact copy, yet there's really a strong sense of movement and gesture in it, and I can really feel what's going on, as well as I'm very happy that we seem to be on the wavelength about artists that we both enjoy. Personally, I think if you don't love James's Venus of Willendorf, there is something wrong with you. And just take a minute, though. James said something very wise, that whatever he thought of his own artwork, he was going to start from good examples. I think he was quite successful with a difficult subject. Nicola's Mona Lisa is just adorable. And the other thing is, it's not just funny, but you can see how, with using Legos and reduction, how little information that's used. Yet we still all know that it's the Mona Lisa without even taking a look to the other side, to look to the left. There's a whimsical quality to Nicola's work that I just adore. And I think this is really an interesting piece, and look at it carefully. Not only was Paula the only person to use photography, which I was actually expecting to see more photography, but I think this really is the most successful piece here. I don't like to use that kind of term, but because it does two things extremely well. It really steals the idea, and if you look at the title, Looking Back to Magritte, it also has a second message. It's very personal and very much hers, and I see the connection so closely between the two, really fine. I don't know if Julio is using drawing on the right side of the brain. This is a drawing in the book, a very fine drawing by Picasso. This is a complex drawing, and he is very meticulous about including all the details, and also a very thorough in his analysis. I think we have the same problem here. If you look at the paper, they're not the same proportion, and this gives him a lot of trouble, and you can see that actually helps the drawing quite a bit when I reproportion it. Very conscientious work, Julio. You know, I spoke out of turn because while I said earlier that there was only one photograph, this one is used so symbolically, so iconographically, that it's almost not like a photograph to me. I'd actually like to just be quiet and give you a moment to read her text. It really goes with what we're talking about this week, and I hope if you get a chance that you will actually listen to John Cage's 4 minutes and 33 seconds. and that is an excellent interpretation and is on the internet. This is Omala's entry for this week, and it's also prescient on so many levels. I don't know if he knew about Gerhard Riker's work beforehand, or that we were going to be working with random elements. I like that he started out with something that interests him, which I don't know if he knew was also something very much involved in a contemporary art. This is a Sudoku pattern, and then he translated it into candy. I hope he ate the candy. It's just fantastic, and he's been super productive. Bravo. There's no getting around. Belle's work is just Belle. And here you see that she's worked with Andy Goldsworthy's Cracked Rock, the spiral. I think she manages to be extremely original with an imagery that is extremely traditional and iconic all the way back to prehistoric times. And I love what she does with the pasta, the letter pasta. Awesome. And I've talked with Belle, and she's looking forward to doing some speed work. Belle is a professional artist, and she's really going to push the envelope here for us, and I'm really excited about that. Thanks a lot, Belle. I liked all of Barbara's work, but this really struck me because there's like an extra level of knowingness, because here you have the original Mona Lisa, beside it a variation done by Andy Warhol, and then finally Barbara's version of her own. I love the work in the hair, where she really enjoys using her drawing instrument, and it's just fantastic, and really works as well as the rest of her drawings. Great job. Gladys, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, but you really were ambitious with your copying. It's actually a painting, and you can see he did an excellent job, and he put a lot of material on the internet. He's also the only person to put videos on here, and they're wonderful, very charming, and really the first one is an invitation to enter kind of into the world of the drag queen show. It's very, very interesting. Gracias. Don't you just love Jesus 82's avatar? I can't, every time I see it I think of him, and I don't even know who he is. But I guess I will by the end of this. If you look at his copy of the Miro, one of the interesting things about it is he lets himself use grid lines. And while you don't need to use grid lines, if you want to, there's no rules against it. And sometimes using grid lines, tracing, are very useful things to do. Wow. All the food ones are just so fantastic, and Trina's work is amazing here. And it's not just how she's used the eggplant with the dolls, but also the shininess. There are all these other qualities in which they match together. And if you get a chance, look at her other work as well. Great job. Wow, another really prescient and amazing food work. This one, the only one actually inspired by architecture. This is the Nest Stadium in China by Al Weiwei and some other architects. Amazing. And I also want to note there are a couple of people who use watercolor. Watercolor is the hardest medium. When you lose the white, you can use a knife to bring it back very carefully for small flecks, or you can also use pastel. Anita's another person who gave herself a complex drawing, which she executed quite well. I think she understands where she needs to go with her fabulous food piece. Also, I think is the one where it was the most complex. She here, look at this, she's using so many different materials. There's some kind of paprika, it looks like mustard. Fabulous, just fabulous.